are live. What's good, Josh? Your man, Dale Saint. How y'all doing? Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. Late night edition. I know it's late, guys. I know it's late. But y'all know Uncle Saint is out here hustling. I got a youngin'. I got a 16-year-old, man. She's last 2 years of high school. She needs stuff. She needs stuff. And and I have been at war in the family court system for over 7 years now. So yeah, I will be talking about that at one point. I will be talking about it. But look, I know it's late. Thanks for rocking out with me. For those who are watching on Team Replay, I see you. I will be on later today. It'll be late, around 9 p.m. or so Eastern time. We're going to be talking about female dating struggles. Let's just put it that way. So that's later on. But right now, I want to talk about this YouTube channel that I honestly believe everyone should go right now, stop what you're doing, subscribe to Humilitas First. It's in the description below. Just go hit the link, go over there and subscribe and start watching because it could save your life. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed, man. But definitely, man. That's, jump over to Humilitas First. Sign up, like, subscribe, share over there. Go watch his content. This brother is a retired law enforcement lieutenant, but he had his career was like doing the jump out boy stuff, like doing the drug enforcement stuff, part of that team. It sounds like he has a lot of experience in the streets going out to get bad guys. And I'm pretty sure he did all other aspects as well, but he was the guy to put the gear on, go out there, do some undercover work, do some recon, do what he got to do to get the bad guys. Shout out to him for that. He gets it done, DeMarco. And I know what you guys are thinking is like, yo, Saint, I thought you didn't like law enforcement. Never said that. Law enforcement is needed. I want more good cops. I want cops who are well trained and well paid. I want professional law enforcement. The people out there with badges and guns that have the authority to take your freedom or take your life. I want them to be the best of the best, trained up. I want them to know the Constitution in and out, especially the Bill of Rights. I want them to know when they're right, when they're wrong. I want their feet held to the fire when they screw up, and I want them to get all their flowers when they get it right. That's what I want from law enforcement. Brother Michael, I see you in the building. What's good, fam? That's what I want from law enforcement. I believe that all law enforcement in the United States of America should make a minimum of $100,000 a year. Doesn't matter where they are, no matter how small a town is, the township, the city, whatever. And I think that they should be trained to a higher standard. Not quite military, but real close. So that's my take on that. Humilitas First, this YouTube channel. I'm glad I stumbled on it. I don't know how I stumbled on it, but I did maybe a few months ago. It's kind of like when I was on my little break, on my hiatus from doing this. I just kind of saw one of his videos and I was hooked. And I'm here to tell you, as a dude who grew up in the type of environment that he's trying to prepare the average person for, everything he's saying is 100% correct. I grew up, I lived that life, I saw it. So, and it's that it's kind of like that training or that programming from being in the hood or the barrio or the trailer park. It stays with you. And then, of course, I went on to the military and got all those skills honed to the highest ability or to the highest level possible by the best of the best. I was out there with the best soldiers America has in the United States military. You know, I'm talking about Rangers, I'm talking about Green Berets, right? LERP guys, I'm talking about scrolled out Rangers, you know what I mean? Couple Delta dudes, who knows? These guys are like real life ghosts. You know, I was around some dudes like, who is that? And no one wanted to answer me. But as far as training goes and experience goes, you can't get any better than what I've seen. And having that street knowledge and then smash that together with with military tactics, I think I'm pretty good at keeping myself out of trouble and seeing things coming. And this is what Humilitas First talks about. Brother Smee was in the building. What's good, fam? Good day to you. This is, and I don't know what's going on in Australia. I know it's harder to get weapons in Australia, but weapons do exist over there. And same thing in UK. You know, over in UK, a lot of people they use the shanks. They use the stabbing tools and weapons. But the lessons that Humilitas First is teaching is basically, man, just keeping your head up, keep your eyes open, and pay attention to what's going on right in front of you. That's how you keep yourself safe. Forget about, oh, I'm going to be like Rambo and I'm going to pull my weapon and do all this kind of stuff. No, you ain't. If you don't see the bad guys pull up on you, you ain't drawing nothing. As a matter of fact, they just going to take your weapon from you with your wallet, with the keys to your car and your car, and they just going to take all that. They might take your shoes if they like them. It is what it is. So we're going to watch a quick video, and so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And, yeah, let's just get into the video.
This is an example of bad guys sinking the ambush in deeply. This is January 2022 in our nation's capital. A Democratic candidate for Washington, D.C. City Council, well, he was carjacked at a gas station. Hey guys, retired Lieutenant Todd Heaton with Humilitas First.
Shout out to brother Todd Heaton. He gets a Don DeMarco. Retired lieutenant. I'm so bad with names, but I'm going to write his name down because I want you guys to remember brother Todd here. Go check out his YouTube channel. Retired lieutenant, but he talks about his career in video after video. Like, he'll talk a little bit here about his beginning of career, middle of career, towards the end of his career. He just talks about stuff, which is really good. Like, I could tell, like, this guy knows his stuff. I like to believe that he was a solid law enforcement guy. He didn't get himself into a whole lot of trouble. I would like to believe he wasn't out there doing bad cop things. I don't think he was. I don't think he would put himself out here like this. I mean, it was just, even now, it's like, it's just too much if he was on the take or just, being that a real hard ass. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know the man, but, I have left comments on his Instagram. He has, responded. He seems like a good dude. Right? People might know him, like, man, you just don't know. Whatever. Seems like a good dude to me. But I really like the information he's putting out on this YouTube channel. Brother Smee was just like, oh, you can get a gun over there, all right? It's fairly easy, huh? If you have a license. Yeah, but you can get one over here without a license. Right? It's so easy to get weapons in this country. Pistols, on the other hand, are hard. Also, you're talking about like rifles and shotguns. But pistols, on the other hand, are harder. To get that license is crazy hard and only for sport shooting. Makes sense. But like anything, if you have cash, you can find a person to sell you a pistol, but you'd be extremely stuffed if you got caught with an unregistered pistol. Like rest of life ruined. Seriously. Oh, wow. Yeah. Over here, bro. I mean, bro, we're definitely gun friendly over here, bro. Like, like I said, the first time I had a registered weapon, I was already in my 50s, but I've always had weapons. Just let that bang around in your head for a while. So, let's check this out, man. So he's talking about, this was in DC a few years ago. The victim in this particular video is a DC City Council member, probably liberal, probably Democrat. DC has some pretty stringent gun laws. DC and New York, I think, are pretty tough, but everyone in DC is armed, especially the bad guys. And this is one of the things, you can make as many laws as you want. The bad guys, they don't follow the law. So they're always going to have weapons. They're going to get their hands on what they got to get their hands on. Just keep that in mind. So let's get back to the video.
So the first pre-threat cue, pre-threat indicator, is that passengers, they don't open the door while the car is still moving. That's not normal. Here's another example just to drive the point home. This is out of Chicago 2023. Now this is one of the busiest intersections in Chicago in the heart of Wicker Park, but it is 4:25 a.m. in the morning. Maybe I should break this one down. Okay, back to the video. Now this
Yeah, Brother Ty should break that one down. You know, he's talking, it's 4 in the morning, it's Chicago. You know, Chicago is a rough city. Like when you're looking at Chicago, especially the South Side, South Central LA, Detroit, um, Philly, DC, Atlanta, Miami, like bro, even Cincinnati. Like, bro, I'm here to tell you, you better stay on your tippy toes. You better keep your head on a swivel, especially in the wee hours of the morning, because who's out that early? Mostly bad guys looking for something to do or coming in from a long night of hunting. So you see here, these people pull up, that door popped up in the intersection. The woman who was walking there with her bag, just not paying attention to nothing, just zoomed in, you know what I mean, tunnel vision, straight ahead. Why? She probably lives in a good neighborhood. They're probably in a halfway decent neighborhood, right? This woman is probably coming home from some promotion or something. Maybe, you know, who knows what's in the bag? Maybe she's a dancer. Maybe, who knows? But these guys pull up and they mean business. The guy jumps out with an assault style rifle. You know what I mean? Everyone else is going to have at least pistols on them. Like the guy comes up and instead of just dropping the bag and running, she tried to drag the bag with her. Y'all need to understand, bro, when you out here, you see something like this happen, man, run. Leave the valuable stuff and run. Hopefully they'll stay. More likely they're going to stay with the valuable stuff. They're not going to chase you down. If they chase you down because they want you, you got a whole nother problem, right? So if you find yourself in this situation, you're dragging, you know, a bag, you got some valuables with you and some people jump out on you and you don't see them until the last minute, throw the valuables towards them and run away from them. That's my advice. And we definitely gotta we definitely gotta wait and see Brother Ty break this down. Like Shmee was looking at it like crazy, man. Shotgun to the face with 3 others raiding your person. Yeah, man, I think that's a 5.56. I don't even think that's a shotgun, bro. I think that's a 5.56 you know, long rifle type thing. You know, AR based kind of thing. That's what I think. It could be a shotgun. I have a shotgun that looks is based on the AR frame. And it has 5-round magazine, 10-round magazine, and a 20-round drum. So you know, just it's really hard to tell from here, but I would bet $1 to a donut that that's a 5.56. Let's continue.
this one down. Okay, back to the video. Now this video begins at this point, but obviously that's not how it works in real life. If I'm paying attention, I'm going to see this car rolling onto the lot and circling around to park somewhere near me. So I'm going to be looking intently to see who's inside that vehicle. Windshields are not tinted. In this case, even the front driver's and passenger side windows are not tinted. So I'm going to get a good look. And how have they chosen to dress themselves for their arrival here at the gas station, at this water hole? And there's a 4-man crew inside of it, hoodies up and shiesty masks on. No, I'm going to go somewhere else, because in that scenario, there is a high probability this is going to happen. This calls for a trip inside the facility to do some Snickers bar shopping, maybe grab a soda pop.
Facts.
Why? I'm just going to burn off time. I'm going to burn off as much time as it takes until this crew is somebody else's problem because they leave. Or I'm going to pick better ground for the fight. But I have to see this developing to have any chance of doing any of that. Do you want to know who looks intentionally inside vehicles?
You can't let no.
And before we jump into this part right here, which is 100% correct, everything he just said makes a lot of sense. You know, I know you guys are looking at the video and they're like, well, look, the sun's up. It seems like it's the middle of the day. It looks like it's the DC area during the winter. Everyone's wearing winter clothing. So why would I be surprised if I see some dudes pull up with hoodies and masks on? It's like, because that's the jump out boy outfit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Them are stick up kids. I don't care if it's 5 degrees below zero out there. If you see them, a bunch of dudes in the car going around in circles looking for a target, hunting in a pack like they're doing, bro, you need to be looking inside that vehicle. You need to be looking inside that vehicle. There's no tent. And if there is tent and that vehicle is slowing down, and like I said, that door is popping open before the car comes to a complete stop, right? And they're away from the pumps. It's not like they're pulling up next to the pumps. Like these dudes are pulling up, hitting the brakes, cars lurching forward a little bit as it stops. You need to be backing up. You need to see who's, as soon as that car pulls up, you need to catch that. Like, man, these dudes got on masks. There's 3 or 4 dudes in there. And it's like Brother Todd said, let me go back inside real quick. These dudes are not going to go inside after you. They do not want your car that bad. If you go back inside where all the cameras are, with more people, there's someone behind the counter, they're going to call 911 or immediately. You don't want to go inside. And if they do come inside, you got a whole nother problem. Now it's not your car, it's you. But let's listen to this part right here about who is paying attention and who is looking into cars. Check this out.
Somebody get up on you,
A number of people raised in a high crime dangerous area that have good situational awareness, particularly those who have a reason to worry. Also, the police officers who have observed this tactic, technique, or procedure over and over again. They do it as well. Police officers learned this when they were working undercover details in normie cars or just rolling through a high crime area in their POV. See it enough times, you begin to connect the dots. 99% of the people on the planet who are out walking around going from point A to point B, they're lost in their own little perception. So they're not looking inside vehicles as every single vehicle passes by, or as the vehicle pauses just a little too long at the stop sign. They don't care. They're lost in their own thoughts. But bad guys, unjust criminal aggressors, they're looking. Why are they looking inside the passenger compartment of a vehicle as it passes by, or as it comes to one of those transitional stops? Because they don't want to get caught slipping if it happens to be the police, a rival gang member, or anybody that they know that they've had a problem with. The opening of the door.
So that part's real important, guys. Back in the day, man, when we would just be chilling on the corner, chilling on a block, or walking around in the hood, best believe we were looking at every car. Like, who's that? Every single car. Even if we recognize the car, you know what I'm saying? Oh, that's little B right there. Well, that's little B's car, but who in there? We would always do that. Always. Paying attention to who's coming through the back alleyways. You're paying attention to who's coming from someone's backyard. You paying attention to all that. Because it only takes a second, right? That's it. It only takes a second to catch you. And here's the thing. The way our homies were, we'll walk up on people, walk up on our own homeboys when they know they didn't see us coming. Walk right up on them like, what's up? Give it up smooth, Jack. And they just freeze, right? And then you start laughing and they start laughing, right? It's funny, but, they sitting up there. You done put a pistol in the back of their neck and you talking about give it up smooth. They know what it is. So that's how we kept each other sharp. And yeah, we got caught slipping. You ain't always going to be on 100 every day, 365. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to happen. You going to get caught. And normally you get caught talking to some dime piece walking through the hood like, hey, what's up, girl? Who is that? What's happening? What's up with you? Let me holler at you. She is the distraction. Why these dudes, her dudes are coming through the backyard of the neighbor's house and coming right across the street with them things out. Lay down. Y'all know what it is. Where the pack at, cuz? Where the pack at? So in the hood, you're dealing with this sort of thing all the time. So you keep your head on a swivel, period. Law enforcement and soldiers do the same thing. When you're on patrol in a faraway land somewhere, you got us Army or us Marine written on your shirt, you on your tippy toes. You looking at everything. Everything. You looking and you're listening. You're paying attention. What happened to all the kids that we saw that was out here just a click ago? How come they ain't out here no more? What's going on? What's that package in the middle of the street? Why is that package there? Right? How come those shades keep moving on the windows? Why these windows keep popping open? What's going on? You know what I mean? When you see that, this is a danger crosser right here. You're going to hold up everything. And we're going to sit here and chill and see what's up before we go through there. Maybe call in some support, right? But this is the truest thing ever. So let's listen to how Brother Todd breaks this down.
While the car is still moving. Well, that's part of this robbery crew's wicked surprise. We've got speed, as the passenger who he's already rotated in his seat so he can easily roll out facing you, which is all the better to identify his intended victim's center chest area as his target. Did I mention that he's hoodie up with this shiesty mask on? Yeah, those are pre-threat cues. We see the extension of his dominant hand into a shooting posture. And guess what? It's pointing directly at you if you happen to be standing where the victim's standing in this wrong place at the wrong time. That pointing of the gun, that's violence of action. With any violent confrontation, time is one of your most precious commodities. So we have to take a look at time. From this point forward, it takes the contact robber about 0.2 of a second to begin rolling out of the vehicle. It's just over 0.4 of a second, less than a half second, and he's ready up high center chest on his target. If you've got some fantasy that you're going to be able to beat this time, well, let me give you some things to consider as it relates to the time constraints that you're facing. One of the things that your response time depends upon is whether you're expecting this or whether it's a surprise. If he's paying attention and watching the hands, he should be able to see the gun, at least by this point, maybe sooner. This victim was not expecting this. How do I know that? Just watch his body suddenly drop down at the half-second mark. That's called a flinch or a startle response. For this victim, it's clearly a surprise. His brain is telling his body, hey, this is bad. We need to get really small, really quick. Another thing that our response time depends upon is at what point we observe, and specifically when we understand what it is that we're seeing. For this guy, we see the gun get pointed at him, and then about 1/10 of a second later, that's when the flinch begins. So there's about a 1/10 of a second gap after full extension with the pistol. Action beats.
And don't think for a second that you won't freeze up like that. You will nut up, especially if you're not from that world. Now, if you got a guy who's used to it, just wasn't on his P's and Q's because he thought he was in a safer neighborhood or whatever, just didn't see these dudes rolling up on him. Yeah, it's cold out here, but when most people wearing a mask because it's cold, when they get inside the car with the heat on, they put the mask down and they take the hood off. When they are rolling up on you, mask and hood on, it's definitely a different situation. All of them got the mask and hood on. You know, and it's like, well, they all plan on jumping out the car real quick. Why? Who does that at the gas station? One person gets out and pump the gas, right? One person might get, two people might get out max. One person to go pay for the gas, one person to pump the gas. That's how it's done in the hood. Now everyone use credit cards, but in the hood, they still pay cash. So you have to pay attention to what's going on. But if you don't see any of this, when they jump out and put that pistol in your face, that thing is going to look this big. It's going to be the biggest weapon you ever seen in your life. That's all you're going to see. You ain't going to see nothing else. And yeah, your knees are going to buckle. That's just how it works.
It's reaction. Action even beats the flinch. How could we imagine it otherwise? We can't. This flinch or fear response takes up 0.2 of a second, from 0.52 to 0.72. That is an involuntary reaction to a sudden, unexpected stimuli. So you're far less likely to experience a flinch response if you're expecting the thing to happen. When milliseconds matter, we really don't want to waste time. So at 0.8 of a second, we see the victim begin to retreat. Look at the distance. You don't need to be a marksman to hit at this distance. It's well within an untrained person's capabilities because the victim's chest is just going to fill the background. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, then you probably heard me talk about in this kind of a circumstance, unless he rolls out of that car actually shooting me, at that point then you have nothing to lose. You need to go for it to try to stop the threat. But absent that, I would want to temporarily fully comply, at least initially. Why? Well, that's going to facilitate some complacency on the bad guy's part. Check this out. The victim is going to show the bad guy his empty hands. See how the bad guy's gun is still up on target? As this contact robber sees the full compliance take shape, this guy raises his hands above his head. There's a direct correlation with him beginning to point his gun down at the ground. That's the kind of complacency I'm talking about. The victim mostly complies, but as we can see, he doesn't fully comply as he continues to walk backwards. So we also see the bad guy vacillate, beginning again to raise his firearm to get the victim to stop. so he can take what he wants. Would you rather?
At this point, if they got you, bro, you got. I would throw my keys in the direction of the gunman. I will have my keys. I throw the keys down, hands still up, moving back. Mind you, whenever I'm outside, there's a 98% chance I'm armed. So I'm throwing my keys down. I'm not even thinking about getting my weapon. I got a ski jacket on or a heavy coat. That's a lot of movement to get to my weapon is on my hip. Even if you belly carry, that's a lot of movement. So I still want to move back and get distance. There's my keys. If he keeps coming at me, there's my wallet. I want his attention on the valuables, and I'm moving back. I need to retreat. If I'm going to engage this guy, I'm going to need some sort of cover. Like I'm going to need something that can stop the 9mm or the 40mm that he has inside that firearm. And he has an extended magazine, so he has a lot of bullets. And if I'm carrying my Glock 23 40mm, I got 17 plus 1 in the chamber. He's got twice as many rounds as I do. Plus, there are 3 more dudes in the car, and they're all armed. Right? So I am outgunned. I am outnumbered. I do not want to engage in a firefight with these dudes. So I'm throwing the valuables on the ground. The wallet's over there. The keys are over there, and I'm still moving. I am not going to stop. I'm not going to lay down. The last thing I want them to do is discover that I'm armed. So I'm still going to continue to move back. I'm headed towards the store. I want to go inside the store. Trust and believe, people inside the store see this happening and they're calling 911. The bad guys know they're on the clock. They got to get this done quick. Give them what they're looking for and keep moving back. And yeah, brother Mike, you're right, man. We cover everything over here. We trying to. Not just the manosphere stuff, not just the red pill stuff, not just the dating stuff. We want to cover everything. So let's continue.
Try to go for your gun at a point where the guy's pointing a gun at you, or would you rather wait until he's not pointing a gun at you? Now, for the 1 or 2 people who would actually prefer to go for their gun immediately in this given circumstance, where the guy's already ready up pointing a gun at you, I would say this. You really need to understand that the process of the draw from concealed carry, well, that takes time.
Yep.
And how competent and how consistently you can draw under this kind of pressure, first time, every time, well, that's going to depend upon how much work you've done in dry fire mode. This is Matt Pranka, retired Delta unit member and current USPSA Grand Master competition shooter. Are you as fast and competent as him? I'm not. Now he's expecting this. So let's measure from the audible noise of the shot timer until his support hand begins to move to clear the draw. 0.16. About halfway between 1/10 of a second and 2/10 of a second response time. That's based on an audible stimuli. Well, is there a difference between audible and visual? Yes. In college and Olympic sports, once the starter pistol has went off, if the athlete takes off out of the blocks quicker than 1/10 of a second, that's a false start. Why? Because people can't respond quicker than 1/10 of a second to an audible signal. Just do a little research. What I found is typically, if you're measuring in tenths of a second, it's going to be 1.4 to 1.6 tenths of a second response time to an auditory stimulus just to begin to move. For visual, it's going to be slower, 1.8 to 2.0 as measured in tenths of a second. So count on 2/10 of a second. And that's if you're expecting it just to begin to move. So I'm counting on a minimum of 2/10 of a second just to begin to react. This is from an older video that I broke.
So right there, now you guys understand why I made the statement that I made. Now I don't belly carry, I carry on my hip. And I'm fairly decent at getting my weapon out of its holster, off my hip, and on target. But I am nowhere near as proficient as that former Delta operator that's the reigning grand champion, right? And I'm probably not as good as Brother Todd, to be honest with you, because I'm assuming he has more time on the range than I do working on the draw since he retired, because he's in that space. Now, I spend a good amount of time at the range. And I don't dry fire as much as I should, but now that I'm watching Humilitas First, I'm gonna start doing that. And my brother Jay Swans, he's always on me like, man, you need to be dry firing. He has all these different training tools that I can practice in the house. I don't have to be on the range, and I don't have to, it doesn't have to be live fire. But I'm proficient. I am way more proficient than the average bear out there. I don't have a problem if I see the threat coming. I don't have a problem drawing my weapon. But if I don't see the threat coming, there's no way. There is absolutely no way in that situation that we're watching here with the man at the gas station that I will be able to draw my weapon and get my weapon on target before the bad guy pulls the trigger, because he's already got his weapon on me. So there's no way I'm going to get my weapon out, clearly holster, on target, right, stable, good shooting stance, and start popping some rounds off before he can just pull the trigger. And he's probably got a switch, what will work in my advantage, because the first 2 rounds might be on target and the rest will be off, because the switch, it just makes his weapon full automatic and it's hard to control. But what if he doesn't? What if he has a little bit of training and he can keep that weapon stable and steady on my chest? It's over for Uncle Saint, period. Now let's watch this part. This video is on his channel. It's very brutal, but I think you guys should watch this video. Go to Humilitas First and check it out. Not now, wait till I'm finished. But once we're done, go over there and check out this video. It is very brutal. I don't think he's gonna show the brutal parts of it, but it's a good training opportunity, and it lets you know when someone comes looking for a conflict, when they come to you looking for a conflict and you're the bigger, stronger person, best believe they have an equalizer. But let's get into it.
Down on the channel. Put a link in the description if you're interested. The shorter man on the left, he's facing an imminent deadly force threat, as the bigger man on the right holds a pair of scissors up to his face. The man on the left, he was a former corrections officer, which means he's had some basic firearms training. So let's see how long it takes him to clear the garment, get a master grip, draw the weapon, then ready it up to his dominant eye. Almost 2.5 seconds. Now, if he would have brought it straight up instead of bringing it up with some style, he could have been at about 2 seconds or under. In a gunfight, milliseconds count. Seconds are too long. You need to think in terms of milliseconds. Or you just need to be so far ahead that you can't hardly lose. Lastly, let's take a look at this from the perspective of the bad guy. So if we know that it's going to take the bad guy, at best, 0.2 of a second or 200 milliseconds to react to the action of you reaching to clear your garment. Look how far ahead he is in the process. He's either looking over, or in this case, there's a good chance he's looking around rather than through his sights. But how long do you think it's going to take the raw action of him to ready that firearm up a few inches and press the trigger? Just over 1/10 of a second. Nobody can get around the reaction time aspect of this. And when it's based on a visual stimuli, like seeing your adversary reach to clear his garment, get that master grip, and draw. So we'd have to add 0.2 of a second for that visual stimuli. So that means total, even at the high ready or compressed ready, looking over your sights, you're somewhere between 3 and 4/10 of a second. If it's a police officer, how good was their training? Have they built in a trained response? Without the trained response, we're going to have to start stacking additional tenths of a second. For decision making, shoot, don't shoot. Time is a precious commodity. If it's a civilian, do they even have training? This guy is just too far ahead in the process of the draw and the ready up. Unless this robber fits in one of 4 circumstances that I've talked about in other videos, I'm just going to be a good witness. I'm going to hand over my key fob, a wallet, and my phone. You and I being somewhere between the speed of a Matt Pranka and this guy. Well, we haven't even begun to reach yet. So when you reach to clear the garment, he's going to shoot you. Why? Because he can. Because you're too far behind. There are examples where the innocent victim is able.
And there's so many variables within those 2 examples. You had the guys who are in the hallway, and then you had the guys at the gas station. The guys are in the hallway. You saw the guy step back and he pulls through his garment. He does this big dramatic pull, right? And again, that video got really brutal, really fast. It's very sad what happened in that video. You guys should definitely check it out. But if I'm in that scenario and I notice someone pulling their weapon, I mean, bro, you have, like you said, you got milliseconds to react. And once he's already started to pull and you see that shiny glimmer of whatever chrome is coming out his waistband, it's time to run. It's time to put distance between you and the shooter. You want to get out of his line of his line of sight. So you want him to have to run and try to find you. So in that scenario where you have stairs, run up the stairs or run into your apartment. In this scenario at the gas station, our victim had nowhere to go. He's already walked beyond the leading edge of his vehicle. He's past the trunk. He's like somewhere between the trunk and then like the rear door. So he can't move to his right. The bad guys are coming from his left. All he can do is go back. And the guy came out so fast with the weapon that, I mean, bro, if he had saw them coming, he could have put distance between him and the bad guys. He could have, like Brother Todd said, gone back into the store and looked at some Snickers, or he could have rotated himself and placed his vehicle between the passenger side shooter and himself. I don't like that option because the vehicles is a bunch of glass. This dude has a whole bunch of rounds. He could start firing up, but you could duck down and try to scramble away, kind of crawl away if you had to. But I still wouldn't draw my weapon. I'm still trying to get out of that situation. We're just too close, right? There's another video on Humilitas First that actually happened in Cincinnati, Ohio, where you had bad guy ambush the good guy. Good guy, well practiced with his weapon, was able to draw his weapon and get rounds on the target, being the bad guy. But the good guy was able to stop the robbery, but unfortunately he didn't survive the encounter. The bad guy put rounds on target as well. They both got hit, right? And the good guy didn't survive his wounds. So again, it's best just to get away. And the best way to avoid these situations is to see these people coming. And if they catch you slipping, just give it up. And like Brother Todd said, become a good witness. Just give the bad guys what they're looking for and become a good witness.
To successfully draw on a drawn gun and either win the fight or at least escape with their life. Though those are going to be more dependent upon the bad guy being unprepared to press his trigger. At this distance, this is a huge gamble, as the unjust criminal aggressor is singularly focused on how you're going to respond to his surprise, speed.
You see where he is. You see where his hips are. He can't move right. The car is in his way. If he were just, half a foot back, just a few inches back, he could then at least maneuver to his right and get to the far side of the vehicle. Again, it's at least three guys coming at him. So the primary shooter could rotate around the front of the vehicle, cutting off your escape that way. And then the secondary shooter, bad guy, could come out of the vehicle and then kind of trap you. So the only escape is back. And once you miss seeing these guys pull up on you, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do in this scenario. If you find yourself in this scenario and they got the drop on you, they got the drop on you, period. Just don't let them get close enough to frisk you. Don't let them get close enough to pat you down and find your weapon if you are carrying it concealed. Throw your valuables on the ground in their direction. They'll get distracted, and you can continue to make your escape. You can continue to move back away from the threat.
And violence of action, his imminent threat of death. But here's the thing. You can avoid all of this by just not stopping and getting gas in a big city like Washington, D.C.
Facts.
When we take a look at citydata.com, how many robberies does Washington, D.C. consistently have? Thousands of robberies. Maybe you can avoid all of this with better planning and some self-discipline.
Man, shout out to Brother Todd and Humilitas.
This is Memphis,
First.
Tennessee, March 7th.
Let me stop that. Shout out to Humilitas First, Brother Ty doing this thing. If you pay attention to what's going on around you, and you do basically what Brother Ty said, don't get gas in the hood. Don't get gas in the big cities. If you can go get your fuel in the suburbs, get it in the suburbs. I live in a really nice neighborhood. I get my gas pretty much from the same gas stations all over town, to be honest with you. I normally go to the same gas stations, and the reason I do that, there's a lot of scamming, like the scanner thing where people are putting up the wrong, to scan your card, to swipe your card, to get your information off your card or whatever. So I go to the same gas stations for the most part. When I go get gas, I generally get gas early in the morning or the early part of the afternoon. Once it's past 6 o'clock, I start to get picky. Even in my neighborhood, it's like, anytime after 9, 10 o'clock, I'm not trying to stop. I'm not trying to stop. I needed gas coming home from work today. I mean, I'm getting to the point where I should, fill up. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get my gas tomorrow morning like I normally do, just to avoid any issues. And when I'm pumping gas, I don't just sit there and pull out my phone or be reading or watching the little commercials on the gas pump. I pump my gas and I'm paying attention to a 360 degree, as best I can, 360 degree awareness of what's going on. Right? What's going on? Who's pulling up? It's early in the morning. Normally, not too many people are pulling up. They're going inside to get, going to 7-Eleven to get themselves, some coffee and maybe a breakfast sandwich or something like that. You can see the people who are going to work. It's not too many people walking around with the food shiesty mask on. If I see that, that's okay. That could be a problem. Right? So I'm ready. I'm watching who's pulling up behind me. I'm watching who's pulling up around me. I'm positioning myself. I'm never giving my back to strangers. I'm paying attention. And some people might think, man, you just sound like you're paranoid. I'm not paranoid. I'm just paying attention. I'm just paying attention. When the bad guys are watching you and they see me paying attention and you're not paying attention, who do you think the bad guys are going to get? They're not going to go after the guy that's paying attention. They're not going to go after the guy that sees them coming. They're going to go after the dude that's asleep. So you want to be a tough target. You don't want to be a soft target. The soft targets are the ones who are going to get all the attention. Right? So if I'm a bad guy and I'm out here looking for a target and I see you lock eyes with me and your body shifts, you position yourself in such a way that, man, he has cover, a little bit of concealment. I can't see what he's doing with his right arm. Right? But he can see me. He can see all of me and I'm the bad guy. You know what? Maybe I'm going to leave that dude alone because that dude might have something for me. But this other guy got his phone out, ain't paying attention to nothing, right? I think I'm going to go ahead and watch this dude over here, right? If I'm the bad guy. So, man, oh man, I can't stress to you guys how Humilitas First, the YouTube channel, is essential for you guys who are just not up to speed on paying attention to what's going on around you. I mean, Brother Todd is planting seeds and you guys need to water those seeds and grow it. You guys need to just pay attention to what he's talking about. He has a bunch of videos, and it's just time, distance, opportunity. The stuff he talks about is great stuff. I believe he goes around and he does, speaking events and stuff like that. And he works with other folks. I mean, there are so many organizations out there, if you're in America, that will help you work on your draw and situational awareness. And if you come from the suburbs and you come from a normal life, you really should see if you can find some of these courses around you. Make sure they're good courses. If you don't know, maybe send Brother Todd a DM on Instagram or something like that, or a comment on one of his videos. He might be able to point you in the right direction. Maybe, get you to some guys who have a good reputation and know what they're doing, right? Because the last thing you want to do is get some poor training and you think you know something and come out here in these streets, because you will get tightened up fast. You know what I mean? That's the thing with law enforcement. I see a lot of cops who get bad training. They come out on these streets and they get tightened up real fast. And I feel bad for them, right? Because they believe they got quality training. They really didn't, right? This is why I'm a huge advocate of one standard, a national standard for law enforcement training. We make sure they're at least getting the same baseline training. They're getting solid training. So when they go out here, they can survive their shift. That's what we need. So I hope this video was good for you guys. I know Brother Michael enjoyed it. Brother Schmeebles, I don't know how it is over there in Australia, but one thing is universal. I don't care where you are. Pay attention to what's going on. If you're paying attention, that makes you a hard target, and people will leave you alone. I'll leave y'all with I got a story for you guys.
Everybody sit down, please. It's story time. It's story time.
I was in Colombia, Medellin to be exact. This is before the passport bros had passports, right? This is when Colombia was beautiful. This is when the whole going down to DR and Curacao and Aruba and Brazil was like nice, right? Wasn't no silly passport bros down there to mess things up. So anyway, I'm out and it's broad daylight. It's like 1:20 in the afternoon. I am in Parc Leger's Park, and which is like the main hub or whatever, but it was still early. It wasn't like crazy like it is at night. It was just like normal stuff going on. You could see the people like painting, selling their paintings, just, people out there making sculptures, people making, bracelets and stuff like that. So I needed some extra cash, and I didn't feel like walking back to my hotel. I was staying at Hotel Diaz. It was a, cool little walk away. I didn't want to walk all the way over there. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just run and get some money out of the ATM. Now, the way their ATMs are set up in Medellin, I don't know if they still have it this way, but you actually walked into a booth. So it's not like here in the US where it's just an ATM. You just walk up and, it's on the side of a building or whatever, or maybe like an ATM where it's a secure door. You put your ATM card in and it opens the door and the door locks behind you, but it's still, glass, and you go in, do your business, and you come out. Nah, they got this it's kind of like a shed. It kind of comes off the building, right? There's no glass. You can't see who's inside or what's inside. It's an ATM in there. It's kind of like a really big phone booth, right? If that makes sense. So I go in to get my, to use the ATM. Now, as I'm walking into the booth, I noticed a group of dudes, maybe 4 or 5 dudes, that were kind of congregating and talking outside the booth, maybe a few steps away from the entrance. I saw them and I went into the booth, but I acknowledged them, but I didn't think that they were a threat. They're grown. I think the average age was probably 23. I just thought they were some young kids just killing some time. I walk into the booth. I put my I put my card into the ATM, and then those guys came walking in the booth behind me, right? Because this thing didn't lock. It was open, but bro, there are no windows. So right away, well, you know what? I messed the timeline up. I was in there long enough to get the money out. I took out like maybe $200 in pesos, which would have been, I don't know, a few 100,000 pesos or whatever it was. I forget what the rate was back then. It might have been like 150,000 pesos or something like that. I forget what the rate was. So I have my card back in my wallet in my pocket. I'm taking the money. And as I'm taking the money, the guys walk in, right? So here I am. I got the money from the ATM, and these guys walk in. Now it's a lot of room in this place. Like a lot of times people were actually staying in line within this like little shed thing, getting the ATM, and then, next person up. So it was just me and these 4 dudes that just walked in. So right away, being from where I'm from, I put the money in my pocket. And back then I always had a pen. I always kept a Parker pen. This isn't Parker, but I had a Parker pen in my pocket. I pulled the pen out and I'm kind of holding the pen like, well, this is all I got. Like the first dude that walks up on me, he's getting it. The rest of the dudes might get me, but I'm getting this dude, right? I'm going to get the first one. That's always been my thing. If you outnumber me, I'm going to get the one that makes the first move or the one who talks the most. You're going to remember this encounter. Y'all, the rest of your homies might get me, but I'm getting you. So as I rotate with the pen in hand, and I'm trying to keep the pen on my right side, as I rotate to these guys, one of the guys puts his hands up and he says, no, 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 no. And then in Spanish, I think he was telling me, it's okay, it's okay. We just want to use the machine. My Spanish wasn't that great, but his hands were up like, no, 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 no. So he saw right away what I had in my mind. I'm like, bro, we finna do this right now. We about to do this in this little booth. So, but I saw him, he saw me. They weren't bad guys. They were clustered in a group. They weren't in a line. They weren't trying to circle me or anything like that. And you guys, when I said clustered in a group, kind of side by side, they weren't in a line. Watch Humilitas first and you will know what I'm talking about. He speaks on this all the time, right? So looking back on it, I was like, oh, these kids, they didn't want any drama. And the one kid was watching me. So that lets me know he's probably from the same background I'm from. He knew what time it was. He was like, yo, this dude was watching us before he went in there, right? They didn't know I was a foreigner until probably they got in there and realized like, oh, this dude probably is a foreigner. Again, this is before the passport bro thing. And this dude was like, no, bro, you good. You good. So I put my pen back in my pocket, right? I said goodbye in Spanish, like adios. And they said, adios or whatever. And everyone was laughing. And I went on about my business. The point of that story is that I saw a potential threat coming. If I were in a bad area, I would not have gone into that little shed or whatever to use that ATM. No way. I would not have done that if I were in a bad area. I believe myself to be in a nice area, a touristy area, and it was police everywhere. So I thought it was okay, even though I saw these guys clustered by the ATM machine, right? I ain't gonna lie to you. I was wrong for doing that. I really should have just went on and found me another ATM machine around the corner that didn't have any guys standing next to it. But I was able to get out of that situation because these dudes weren't wolves. These dudes weren't the bad guys. They were just normal people like me. But still, I technically got caught slipping. They could have got me, and they would have got me. They could have got me from my wallet, the money that I had just taken out, right? And yeah, I would have got one of them, but bro, they'd have tore me up. It was, you know what I'm saying? This was probably over 10. I had to be more than, my daughter wasn't born yet, so it was over 16 years ago. This was over 16 years ago. So you never want to get caught slipping. Don't let your ego get in the way. If you see a situation that might turn into a thing, just keep moving. That's what Brother Todd talks about. Just keep moving. You know what I'm saying? And Brother Smeebles is saying, I remember my ex did a self-defense course, wanted to show me her skills after 3 months, put her down without a sweat. Absolutely. Men and women are different. Women think, I've taken Krav Maga, or I've taken this course in self-defense. Women have no idea how strong men are, especially when the adrenaline starts flowing and like we are really out for blood. Women have no idea how violent men can be, especially women in the West. They're protected. Simple as that. They're protected. Brother Smeebles is saying it's getting really bad down here with machete. Oh, for real? That's terrible. I've always walked around on a swivel, which has helped out heaps of times. Yeah, man, you got to keep your head on a swivel. I mean, you're not going to see everything all the time, but at least you're looking. And the bad guys are going to pay attention to that. Like, that dude's paying attention. That dude's going to be a tough target. Let's get a soft target. Criminals want the easiest lick they can hit. They don't want to have to fight for it. They don't want to have to get roughed up. They don't want someone, right, who is paying attention. They want the person who's asleep. So if you're walking around at least paying attention to what's going on, that is huge. That is huge because the bad guys see it. Simple as that. Once upon a time when I was out doing bad guy shit, that's one of the things we look for, dude paying attention. Now, if the mission was to get dude, it was what it was. But if the mission was to catch somebody slipping, the one who got his head on the swivel paying attention, the one that's making eye contact saying, what's up? That's what I do all to this day. Hey, how you doing? What's good, man? How you doing? What's up? I see you. Right? The one that's looking at me is the one I don't want. I want the dude who's got his head down, hands in his pocket, trying to walk away fast. That's the target. That's the sheep. The dude looking me in the eyes, that's another wolf, right? It's about to get nasty. I don't want it to get nasty. I want it to be nice and easy, in and out. At least that's how it was once upon a time, bro. That was way back in the 80s and 90s. I am not that guy anymore. Brother Smee was like, I do the same thing at ATMs, make sure card and wallet are in pockets and just snatch cash and bail. Unless no one's around me, then I count first and slap it in the pocket. Absolutely, man. So, I mean, even in nice neighborhoods, you just got to keep your eyes up. Even when you're going through a drive-through. When you're going through a drive-through, I think you're more vulnerable than when you actually get out and walk up to the ATM. People can box you in, bro. When you go through the drive-through, you can get boxed in. You can get boxed in. And it's really hard to draw. For me, it's really hard to draw from my hip when I'm in the car, seat belts and all that. So if you don't see them coming and you can prepare yourself, you got a problem. I know I've been not too far from my neighborhood. I have to bank at this credit union, this part of my credit union system. Whenever I go to this particular credit union, the neighborhood is not as good as mine. There's a little bit more going on in this neighborhood. Like I said, it's only like 5 minutes away, 6 minutes away. So whenever I go there and I know I'm going to put in a lot of money or take out a lot of money, and by a lot of money is like anything over $100. I mean, I know some people that they'll try to bust your head open for $90. So if you're sitting around with $500, $600, $700. So whenever I have to do business at this particular ATM, using my debit card, and I roll up, it's always daytime. It's always, late morning or early afternoon when I pull up. And when I pull up, I take my seatbelt off as I'm pulling up to the ATM, and I'll take my weapon and I'll take it out of the holster and have it on my lap. So I'm sitting there. I got that thing on my lap, and I'm doing whatever I got to do. I get that money in right away, or I take the money out right away. And I hate this ATM because it just moves extra slow. I just feel so vulnerable, bro. And I'm looking, it's like, bro, I can get hit so many ways right here. But, this is the only one I can use. So, because you have to do a search, and it's like, this is the only ATM I can use with my credit union. So I have to use it. But I have my weapon and I'm ready. I'm ready. And they have two ATMs right next to each other. So it'll be like two lines, no waiting. And sometimes there's a car right next to me. Don't think that the car next to you is just doing business. They won't turn around and snatch what you're doing. So constantly watching, man. Like, again, you don't want to be paranoid, but you do want to pay attention. Do pay attention to what's going on, especially if you're walking around with a lot of cash. It is what it is. And Brother Smith was just like, what the heck is a drive-through ATM? Drive-through ATM is so you don't have to get out your car. So you have these ATMs behind the bank mostly, and they're like on their own little island kind of thing. So you just kind of pull up, roll your driver's side window down, and you can do your ATM banking right there, bro. You just it's kind of like this, bro. You just pull up, put your card in there, do what you want to do. You never have to turn your vehicle off. Get your money, make your transaction, whatever you're doing, make your, whatever it is you're doing, put money in, taking money out, whatever you're doing, putting in checks, whatever. And then you're done, right? Get your card back, drive off. So it's banking made simple. I think that's how the commercial goes. But that's what it is, bro. It's a drive-through ATM. We got a lot of drive-throughs in America, bro. In Louisiana, they have drive-through liquor pickup, man. You can pull up to the side of the bar. They got a window there, just like at McDonald's, man, and get you get you a margarita or get you a, icy or whatever drink you want. Just order it. They give it to you right through the window, man. God bless Louisiana. So, I just, it is what it is. It's like, man, y'all got drive-through alcohol pickup. My goodness. So, appreciate you, Brother Michael. Thank you so much, man. W to you as well. So that's it. That's all we got, man. Like I said, make sure you guys go and check out Humilitas First. Humilitas First. Check them out, bro. Let me pull it back up. Here it is right here. Here's his homepage. You guys go check it out. Humilitas First. HUMILITAS First. 2 words. Check him out, man. He has 29.5 thousand subscribers, so he got almost, he's working on 30,000. I'm telling everyone I know And I hope y'all do the same thing. Tell everyone you know to check this out, man. Check him out. He has some really good videos, bro. Some really good videos. This open carry video is a great one for people down here in the South in America, bro. It's people just walking around with pistols in their pocket like they're stupid. There are some good ones I'm trying to find. Just check him out. When you guys get a chance, as you can see, I've watched almost all of his videos. They're just really good. Just really good. Here's the one, the gunfight on the streets of Cincinnati, Ohio, April 2025. This is a really good one here. Very sad story. Unfortunate how this turned out. But situation where you had a good guy with some decent training, firearms training with his weapon, facing a bad guy who had to drop on him. So definitely check it out. And I grew up in Cincinnati. Where this shootout occurred, I've been there more times than I can count. I know exactly where they are. And it's just, Cincinnati has always been a dangerous place. Always will be. You have to keep your head on a swivel. So make sure you guys check out Humilitas first. Yes, he does shorts as well. He's on Instagram as well. Man, follow this brother on all his socials. Check him out. Tell your friends. It is what it is. It's like y'all got heaps of those. We just deal with bottle stuff. Yeah, man. Over here in the States, they're not supposed to hand you a beverage with a straw in it, alcoholic beverage with a straw in it. But that's Louisiana, man. They get down different. So that's it. That's all I got, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this. If you guys are watching on Team Replay, please, like, subscribe. Actually, share this one. Make sure you share this one with your people. Share this one with your female friends, your moms, your aunties, your cousins, your sisters, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. Let women see this. Women are notorious for not paying attention to what's going on around them, bro. Definitely tell a friend. Tell your family. Tell these women. Sit them down. Watch the video with them. Like, because when people see this, they're kind of like, oh. It's like, yeah, oh. So that's it. That's all I got, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was fun. I got to get to bed. It's almost 3 a.m. here on the East Coast. I got to get up in the morning and do some stuff for my daughter. So that's that. I'm out of here. Thank you for watching. I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast, man. I'm going to holler at y'all later on today. It'll be around 9 p.m. tonight. We're going to talk about some dating stuff. I think you guys are going to like it. I'll see y'all then. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.